smelling good, eating good, drinking good, thinking good thoughts, having a good time, sharing good energy with good people in good places, doing good things. Hmm. Let's see. All right. So, what I have found. So, let me double check my live real quick, making sure the value's on. Oh, okay. So, yes, it is on. Cool. All right. So, the title, or the sub, the thumbnail. Okay. Let's look at the thumbnail first. So there's two of everything. That's why I'm looking at that first. There's also like two wives, right? One of them's married to a doctor. Another one maybe married to one of the CEOs. There's there's two sisters as well that are involved. One of them is either also a doctor or married to a doctor or both, and the other one is an insurance person. There's also two insurance people. One that they just went to for their property and auto. So like if they plan some type of like car accident, or you know what I mean, like that would be something that they would have already set up with this one. Or if they planned, you know, a house fire, that's what they would set up with this one. If it was like a life insurance, they set it up with the other one. So they had their work split up and divvied up like that. I didn't get a lot of details, just basics. One of the doctor's wives is actually the one who's involved in the trafficking. Like she has a history. Yep. They're not married for love either, because that was coming out in the reverse. But which I feel like the doctor maybe thought that they were this time around or something. And then there's a second doctor. So that's called Dr. A is the one whose wife is the trafficker. Dr. B is the one who was older, and this doctor actually passed away. Now, Dr. A, way back in the day, had borrowed Dr. B's NPI. And it was one of those things like, you know, it was an early day. I had left the paper at home. It's, you know, I'm a new doctor and they were just trying to, you know, help. Yep. He was trying to make sure. And he was like, oh yeah, that's what they were doing. So it wasn't done in some type of like, oh, you can use my info for this. It was just like once when they first started, you know, out in their practice, he was like, okay, here's my info so you can use it for the rest of the day, but make sure this doesn't happen again. And like maybe gave him even some tips. Yep. Because this physician, you know, was really, you know, good at what he did. You know, he was a good, you know, man. He was a good, you know, spouse, etc., etc. No. But that doctor passed, and what I understand is that there's this thing called the NPI. Well, this NPI, they don't have like an expiration date, but what's happened is they've been using this person's NPI to look into the records of other people for their groups, right? And now this person passed away some years ago. Yep. Now someone passed away some years ago, but they continue to do this, and that's what's kind of brought them up to the front. Because look, if you see here, this person is like in this rock star energy, this Knight of Wands. So this, whoever this younger doctor was at the time, they kept that information, and maybe they've always been using it for the group. Yeah, that's what I heard. That was their way to kind of bring themselves, you know, into the group more, maybe. Because there's something here. There's a face here. You see, there's eyes, nose, mouth, and that's actually just a shadow. So maybe this person was always kind of in their shadow, which may explain why they weren't able to marry people who were really in love with them, and why they married someone who's, you know, trafficker. Okay, but anyway, what else should we know about Dr. B? This is how this physician actually got their popularity. So it was never really based on them being a good physician. It was just because they were able to keep this clout going up. Yeah. And then if they did have any issues, they would blame it on a spouse and be like, oh yeah, because I married the wrong person. And, you know, that's how they kind of shielded, you know, it every time they had to switch spouses. But I believe it's because the spouses would find out about their, like, their little, dirty work. That's what I'm seeing here. And they probably played it off like, oh yeah, she took me for all my money. You know. And it's like, well, how or why could, that maybe was always a concern. Like, how or why, could you go through that so many times? Maybe people are wondering that. Like, how could you, how could that always end up your circumstances? Every time you get married, you just don't get a prenup. And I think people have kind of put two and two together. Yep, look, the moon card. People have kind of put two and two together. Yep, put it on out there. So that's what happened, giving them that clout in the community, was being able to kind of defeat, any communications. Because it's like this truce is right over this moon. So it's like, oh yeah, they seemed, reputable. And would say, how their person that they divorced was just in it for, whatever, So that explains a lot about the... Oh gosh. So that was always their purpose, was to do that. Was, I just saw the gain card, was like to gain off of the other person's bad name. Like that's maybe like even these physicians would tell their actual patients, that kind of business to gain the popularity. Yep. Look, they tell it to anybody that would listen, because they knew that that was a way for them to gain that clout and use that energy against the person. It's kind of like, even if you got into a taxi cab, you sit and you start talking about the person. You know what I mean? And then again, if it's two, if you can get someone to identify with you, then it kind of works in your favor. So that's what that person was doing. So now there's this connection between the crematory, because what I understand is like there's this CEO, and they were all kind of connected for the purpose of going against, the going against the collective. And so as a result, they have this kind of like, what is it called? Like based on state, they have this list called actives, is what I was told. It's a list called actives, and they can look on this actives list and see who's in which state. And the states that were involved were California, Nevada, and Arizona. That's where they kept their little hub of agreements with respect to this, this group of whomever, because I feel like this is maybe 6 to 8 people. Yeah, that's, that are getting caught up right now. What's that card? It's a 75. Yeah. Like I said, 6 to 8, 75, whatever. It's a 5 and a 7. So those are right by those numbers. So take it how it resonates. But there's this person who owns a crematory who's also connected to this donor network, which to me off the back sounds like, why are these two connected? Yeah, like there's something fishy, like something's not adding up here. And I keep seeing that like coming out, and I'm just kind of like, how are people not seeing this? And I guess it just has a lot to do with like they're looking at it from a philanthropy standpoint of like, oh yeah, the donor network, and oh yeah, this, because there's not been any, people don't know until they know kind of energy. Like, oh, and we didn't know they were doing this. We didn't know that they said that they were moving the homeless to somewhere, and really they just took them to Arizona to this cremation place, and use their body if we could for any donor networks. And because they got that was a part of it too. They did get these people's information, is what I understand. That may be some of the stuff that they either tried to get rid of, or something that may have been found. But it was like a 1,000 people type of sacrifice energy, if not more. I'm still hearing 2 as the number. Give me a second. So, and no, I'm not talking about spell work. I'm talking about actual people being in cahoots. So I saw that in the comments there. It's like, ooh, spell work, ooh, this. No, I'm not talking about that. Because maybe now the trolls are trying to like err on the side of caution in the fact that we know, the collective knows they can't do anything against us, that spell work can't do what they want it to do unless we, subscribe to that. But the fact still remains that they subscribe to it. They subscribe to it this whole entire time. Now they're trying to unsubscribe to it to push us into some type of, like, I don't know, make us feel like what we experienced didn't really happen or something like that. Um, that was the other thing too, because there's this energy of like, too much, especially since this is behind closed doors. And so my thing is like, this is not about spell work. This is about actual people, prominent people in a community conspiring together to rid what they consider to be problems, which are actual human beings, and take them and dispose of them or discard them or use them for financial gain or for religious practices, religious, reasons. You know what I mean? So speaking about that is decidedly important. Again, some people need to educate themselves and see if these acronyms haven't used psychics and things like that. And it's funny that all of these programs that they put together are like, oh, they ended that program way back then. It's like, yeah, right, they ended that program back then. No, okay, sure they did. That's the best way to make sure that people don't look into it any further or can't, quiet it down and put it away. Because what people fail to realize is the only information is the information they allow you to. The only things that are available to you are the things that they allow you to know. Especially since these organizations and governments control media. They invented media. All of it. The TV, the radio, that was their invention. Okay, so you need to understand there's a lot more at play than people can really understand at this point. But so there's this whole thing about they were using this blood omen or something like that, and then being able to travel, between the mountains. Okay, so maybe that's why they did those 3 states, because you do travel through the mountains to get to Arizona from Nevada and also to California. So that was a way to perform the magic, because it had to be in close range. And it was useful to them to have people with intestinal issues, and just kind of automatically sacral energy and like gut energy and stuff like that would be weakened in someone who was homeless, right? Because they're usually afflicted by quite a few things, right? So it was kind of like, okay, this is an easy thing, but because of it being such an easy, grab, that's why they had to do it in such a mass amount. Like they had to have so many in order to be able to do this. Yeah, that's maybe what this public defender knows too. That truth about things. Yeah, it's like all this stuff coming out. Ooh. So, and some people don't believe in rituals, but look at everything that you do. The holidays are a ritual, right? Valentine's Day is ritualistic. Your birthdays are ritualistic. You know what I mean? Going to get your morning, everyday Starbucks coffee. Having your morning coffee is a ritual. If you do it every day. Oh, I don't do it on weekends. Oh, so that's your Sabbath? I need people to make sense out of things that make sense, because it's kind of like, yeah, that's maybe what's happening too in this cycle, is people are realizing that they're defeated. And the only reason why stuff is coming out about people is because it kind of has to. They were already communicated to. So now this is, remember, we kind of like, they've got to live through their stuff. So they're seeing the stuff that they're about to be facing, or at least other people are, by way of these readings. Like, oh, wow. So so-and-so is about to, and they'll know who these readings are for, right? They know who's doctors and who's CEOs and whose wives and that have been involved in any type of like something with homelessness and homeless people or insurance. Yeah. And then they also know, what is this kindergarten teacher energy? Because I get that that's maybe who they were following that's actually involved in this cult, that had the most to kind of like gain in this situation, as well as the most to like expend as well. Okay. So tell us more about this princess. This kindergarten teacher energy. So What was this kindergarten teacher's role? Because I get this is the one who could get all the details about how to use the blood omen, what cities and states, and they had some access. Ooh. Yeah, they had some access, but they realized like, okay, if we couldn't make this person lonely, we can't create a nightmare for them. So that's where they're losing, right? Is in not being able to create this loneliness. That's got them overloaded with trying to even protest, like even to go against what everybody can see because this illusion is broken. That's it's and that's what's the hardest right now is to stop people from protesting them because they're awakened to this illusion. Oh wow. Okay. Maybe people are realizing who they've been in bed with. Yeah. Look. Ooh. Maybe people are realizing like who this, homelessness is really reserved for. Like who's really falling into that. And who's actually getting this eternal love. Interesting. Tell us more about this kindergarten teacher energy. Ooh. They knew it was kind of fate, though, that their idea wouldn't work because that's the idea in the reverse. Like, they knew that this was a bad idea. They knew that fate was always going to, like, if it's in the cards, it's in the cards. Like, fate is it. Maybe that's also why they're realizing they need to get into some type of truth energy. Or maybe it's too late for that. Because I'm getting this energy of like justice and reservation has already been met. Like it's already been exposed. Like it's kind of too late to say. It's kind of like those people who would rather ask for forgiveness than permission. So I don't know, probably because they know that what they're doing wouldn't be acceptable. And so it's like, oh yeah, I'd rather just, go against. Yeah. Maybe that's how they even got their friends to go along with it because their friends are also those type of individuals. Okay, so now there's some information about the friends. So people that they've had strong friendships with and alliances with. Those people that were in these relationships are finding themselves fighting through these moments of where they're trying to apologize and make amends with their partners now because of whatever. Look, that illness card. And now these people are realizing like the severity of like this bully energy and what the homeless energy really is and like what the goal of doing that, like the purpose and the expectation and the destination of that type of energy. Like even if it's just kind of like people looking at a person and just talking about that together and getting together and saying, yeah, we can't wait till this is, this so-and-so disappears. That's the kind of energy I'm getting. Yeah. I feel like they're all trying to find like this. They're all trying to find this calm. Maybe they're holding on to each other really closely right now. These friendship groups. Because, they're headed towards this fate. Oh, because of these illusions. Hold on. I don't understand. What's happening? Well, number one, the doctor's getting exposed. Like the whole little thing is being exposed. Like all of the dots are being connected. Something about that list for the actives too. Because there's some people that are on the inside of this. Oh, and then for the life insurance, there's this whole process of they knew which elderly individual to put the policies on and which ones to tell their family members like to let the property taxes go delinquent or their caretaker. They were either in cahoots with caretakers or the person's families that were elderly, and they were like, okay, let the property taxes go delinquent, and this is how we'll steal the property from these people, or let this go delinquent, and then you know, at the point in time, you know, when it's supposed to go to their estate or, you know, however, just to maybe even try to remove it from the person's family in some sense of it. What were they doing with that? I'm getting the energy like it doesn't even matter what they did at this point. They know that they're in trouble. Like there's just no getting around this. Like, you know, yeah, they probably do want to stay calm too, is what I'm hearing, because there's a lot of things that they're about to face, you know. Dang. All three of these came out. Tell me more about this magician card. Because I'm wondering if these people are still trying to do things. Playing games to like quicken things up or to gaslight people. Oh, yeah, that's not. Okay, so that one didn't work. Oh, so maybe that's what threw them over the edge. With respect to like making sure that, I don't know, everybody's hand was in the pot or something like that. Like, because I'm hearing something like someone was trying to avoid getting their hands dirty in this. Who was it that was? Whoa. Ooh. Okay, so it was somebody in these friendship groups that somebody who's not in it, like somebody who shares the same level as this other person. So they present as a Nine of Pentacles, but it's really the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, because it's like, think about pancakes. Usually your mom makes your pancakes for you, or, you know, something like that. And I feel like these people were just young and kind of immature, and could get a lot of people going with them because of this clout chasey energy and like the fact that they had things to show. What was it that they were showing? What was it that they were showing for other people? Give me a second.
Can I come here and miss you something very awesome?
Okay. Yeah, so they're in the reverse because they're not really, you know, they're not really making it on their own. Everything was kind of, they haven't really put in the hard work, you know. They haven't really balanced out. They were just using the clout energy to really make, you know, things come together for them. Yeah. That and like manipulating other people's emotion. Yeah, manipulating other people's emotions and kind of just like leaving them out, and, you know, maybe even moving back and forth between those energies, keeping people with that revolving door energy. There's another deck, because I'm heavily that revolving door energy. I feel like, you know, like, you ever see one of those revolving doors and it gets shut on somebody? Yeah, somebody was moving too quick or didn't move quick enough in the right direction is what I'm hearing. Yeah, they didn't move quick enough in the right direction. Yeah. They didn't move quick enough in the right direction. Yeah, to be able to bring it like together for them. Like they didn't put anything, you know, into their efforts. Their life has always been like that though. Like somebody's always come to the rescue. And that's not what's happening anymore. Nobody's coming to the rescue. Ooh. Maybe somebody like totally ignored that type of message too. Was like, oh, I don't understand what that means. Nobody's coming to the rescue. There's always someone available to help me through whatever I want to do. And I've got everybody. Like, I feel like this person felt like they had everybody, you know, I don't know, sniffing their butt. But look at how, like, oh, how things change. Oh, how things change. So that maybe they felt like they had the big guns on their side, and that's not the case anymore. Because I feel like that big monster foot is no longer available. And that's got this person sick to their stomach too. Yeah, because maybe even this person caught somebody, or maybe this person was trying to catfish your person into believing that you had something. But it's like, it's very easy to prove whether or not you have something, right? I mean, why would that stress anybody out unless they were just not that bright or not thinking on their own, you know? Ooh. So maybe they felt like if they could get your person to think that you were catfishing them and that you had all this dirty laundry and stuff, and if they went ahead and worked with whomever they needed to work with to build this big old mountain, be three-faced it, because they were playing their friends, they were playing their, their person, they were playing everybody in an attempt to like ruin you. That's crazy though, because they ruined their own relationships and their friendships and stuff like that, and their own, opportunities. Maybe they didn't realize that, like getting all these people caught up and stuff against one person that you shouldn't even be involved with. Look, it's a bad idea. And then this is the next card. It's a bad idea. Yep. This person is having to face reality now, because I feel like this is the VR, the virtual reality. But they're having to face it like now. That's where they were before. Now, in this new season, this new era, they're having to understand things differently. Like they're really going to have to like provide for themselves. And that's these people's biggest issue. That's these people's biggest issue. They are so mad too. Yeah, they're so mad because they can't like communicate with you to deceive you anymore. Yep. And they lose again. It's just the reality of it. And then at the same time, like each and every day, somebody else's business is coming out and people are being made aware of like, oh, okay, wait a minute. They're onto these two people within this organization and they're onto these four other people over here. And, if they're telling us about it, then we could only imagine that whomever these detectives are knows that too. Yep. Yep. They maybe even, it's something about like they knew that it was messed up and they couldn't deliver, and like that the game was over when they couldn't take you out. So like any attempts for that's in a separate reading though, because they recently sent people in. That revolving door. Yep. So I guess if the revolving doors couldn't get in, now they've went through the process of being like really super lurky and trying to bring some true conflict to you that like doesn't even belong in your energy. It's kind of like, oh yeah, somebody, you ever hear those stories about like two completely innocent people getting hurt, and it just doesn't make sense because these are like, it just doesn't make sense. And that's the type of, thing here. Like a woman and her child walking home from the store. It's that kind of energy. Like they're trying to make that type of scenario stick here. But it's like the universe is not going for it. Again, it's that energy of when people approach, they see themselves. They see what they would have wanted, and it's like, how can I stop that? Like, that's the stuff that I've been fighting for. And clearly this person is fighting, because if this person wasn't fighting, then I wouldn't be being sent in to go against this person. It's that whole moment of truth, that whole come to Jesus. That's what that is. People didn't realize that that was actually a thing, or that that's what was happening here, maybe. Like the whole come to Jesus. Well, you sent him. You sent them in, to go towards this person. They knew that because that's what they didn't like about you in the first place. The fact that you always seem like this goody two-shoes and, full of abundance. I'm getting you really, really stick to your decisions. Like you are really a very bold person. You are extremely, extremely, extremely creative. Like you're very progressive. You really know how to like make new things, because I'm getting like that energy of like the ramen craze. It's like when you put together a bowl of ramen, it's like yum yum delicious. And that's the whole part of it too. It's like people wanted to be able to continue to have access to that because of your capabilities as well. They knew that you would be constantly creating, constantly exploring, revealing truths, finding them out for yourself, and making, I feel like new ways. It's kind of like if there was a hurdle, you jump just at the right time, just at the right height, just to go right over the hurdle, and it's like you're a clean hurdle jumper. You ever seen a hurdle jumper whose legs just whoosh, whoosh? Who was that? That woman that I used to watch. Was that Flojo? Might have been Flojo. Let me see. 'Cause I remember. I'm members. Yeah. I'm almost certain she may have done. I mean, she was a great athlete, though. That's the type of energy that I'm getting from you. It's like just you were built for this. What else is going on? Oh yeah, this is if people want to know what's happening, like this is the reality. This is all of the things that are about to burden these people. These are all of the things that are about to become these people's reality. That 10 of Wands, that whole loaf of 10 of Wands, it's all coming out. Maybe there's 10 people too involved in this situation, like 2 doctors, two wives to doctors, 2 CEOs, 2 sisters, and 2 insurance people. Oh yeah, okay. I just counted on my hands. I did. Yeah, it's 10. Because it was twice, which is 5 times 2. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yep. Yep, that whole loaf. That whole batch. That whole batch. Maybe those individuals are going to be the ones to go down for a specific part of this RICO crime. Like, remember my other card somewhere, kept saying like certain people will take the fall for certain as heads of certain such and such. So with respect to maybe some trafficking energy, maybe these individuals are going to be taken down as the heads of this trafficking because they had a hand in so many movements. Again, they had to do it because they were easier targets. They were truly easy targets because they didn't have a home. Like, they were already, burdened by life and, life's experiences. Some people even on drugs, because that tends to happen, right? It tends to be a part of the, certain circumstances. And, I believe that all of these things are demonic attachments, demonic afflictions, and if they're met in a space where these people feel like, oh, okay, these are our rules, and because I'm feeling like they were after something. What was it that they were, why did they even go after these people, these homeless people? Because that's what I'm hearing it was a bunch of homeless people. Why did they go after these homeless people? Because they felt like they were already unlucky. I told you guys that. They felt like they were already unlucky, and that was the easiest way for them to make this merit with whomever they deal with, whomever they I just split it again, whoever they deal with, whomever they make their sacrifices to, whoever they believe in, whatever that is. I feel like it was kind of like, didn't take much. Like there would maybe have been a little hesitation, but not enough to stop them. Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like they even couldn't get it done on schedule. Like, that was a part of it too. They couldn't get it all done at once. And so that may have been another part of what they got wrong as well, which is playing a part. Like, they were too busy. Like, they maybe missed a timeline, or they were busy daydreaming about what the collective was doing, the collective's fate, maybe too focused on the collective's, where the collective was, what the collective was doing, trying to stay in that business and energy every day, and continually create obstacles for you, that they missed their own schedule with what they were supposed to be doing to create the room for their own works to work. Yeah. Maybe they were prideful and felt like, oh, we can do all of this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do that. The goal was that you wouldn't gain any new energy, that you wouldn't gain any new opportunities, right? That you wouldn't be able to see for yourself, you know, where to go next and have this new spark of creativity and stuff like that. That they would be able to put you in a position where you were either drugged up or doped up or however, whatever they could get you involved in is what I'm actually understanding. It's like, well, it doesn't matter, whatever low we can get them to. Or they'll just be drinking and partying or, you know, taking hardcore drugs, you know, whatever it could be. Yep. Some people maybe even felt like, oh, if I go and give this person a gift, then I can trap them. No, because the way this works is like gifts only work if the person that you're giving them to hasn't withdrawn yet, and the collective had already withdrawn. I think that's maybe what some people didn't realize. Like the collective got on there was this whole energy about like, oh, somebody's taking a spiritual bath. Well, they don't know, they probably don't even know how to take a spiritual bath or what you need to put in one to really cleanse yourself with your ancestors the proper way. Bath salts ain't it. So just some flowers, nope. It's got some much more heavy details. In addition, if someone's able to break their own bad habits, like you can't trap them. That's what I'm saying here. Like if someone's able to break their own bad habits, like they're promised whatever they want, like whatever the promise is, whatever this, and it's like new beginnings with money, new beginnings, like whatever gain they want. Yeah. Whatever gain they want. And I feel like these people are promised like to be in confinement now, and that's really what's stressing them out. But they reserved this for themselves. Like, yeah, by trying to cause this disturbance. See, man, now they're all sick and worn out and messed up and sick in the mind, sick in the heart, sick in the like all these different things. This is really unfortunate for them. I feel like they you know, they're not realizing like they're literally just going to keep watching everything get spoken and then watching it happen as well. And again, this is the whole lesson here, like education, literacy, learning things. They probably set out with like this heavy illusion in 2023. They had certain steps that they had to pass on 2019 and 2020. They were hoping to use the pandemic even at one point, because that also was a forced isolation. So it was kind of like, oh, maybe that will help. Maybe, oh. And then there's some pastor and a lawyer that were involved in some unethical behavior. Between 1986 and 1991, it's like it went on for a 5-year period or something. Or maybe it's involving people who were born between 1986 and 1991. Or something like that. Uh-oh. And somebody's trying to act like they didn't know what the consequences were. That may be a huge part of it. Like somebody's trying to like plead. Okay, what's that energy? This pleading energy. What is this pleading energy? What is this pleading energy? What is this pleading energy about? Okay. This is somebody who's trying to cross probably over some divine masculine's boundaries and is just kind of trying to laugh things off. Like, so they may call you and like, if you actually answer, if you don't have them blocked or whatever, or they may, you know, they may just laugh about it, or, you know, that may be their response when people bring you up even. But they're trying to cross these boundaries and they're realizing that they can't. That you're not thinking about them. Like that you be the reason, like you're in isolation, but you're not. Like you're isolating yourself from them. And they're not getting a second chance. They're just daydreaming about that. And then trying to cross your boundaries is really what's kind of pushing things. Like trying to, I feel like this something that this person did this last time really pushed the limit. Because I feel like everything's being traced back to this person. Yeah, this masculine energy's moved on. It's like this masculine energy is really inspired and optimistic about, you know, the possibilities, about following their dreams. They've made up their mind and they believe in themselves, you know. They're not going to let somebody go cross their boundaries, or maybe even like take their soulmate away from them, or like confuse them or intoxicate them. Like, I feel like somebody was like, okay, today I'm going to choose harmony. Today I'm going to choose, the good thrills, the thrills that, can last a long time, that, it's like, and it's not like it's an epiphany. This is something, that's maybe even just been stifled because of it. Why was this stifled? Yeah, because this person, it's like this person didn't, I get they weren't really lusty or greedy or inconsiderate. Okay. So like at the core of this person, even though maybe people had seen that or maybe thought that, maybe they were just like competitive, not really greedy, which also kind of can slide into that, like by any means necessary. And then I feel like inconsiderate is just kind of, that's ego, right? So it's not like, and maybe how this person maybe carried themselves in the nightlife that made people salty, because it was like, the whole salty and clingy. It's like, oh gosh. Yeah. Maybe even people tried to like assume that you were some narcissistic energy, or maybe even throw that towards you. Ooh, yeah, those people have realized that too. Like, oh no, that's really not the case here. We were kind of being a little rash because we were kind of jealous of these scenarios. Like maybe divine masculine, you always pulled in the kind of women, or maybe because you've pulled in your soulmate, you've aligned. Yeah, you've aligned. So this is awesome. You're not afraid. You're not paranoid. You're not peeking. You're not creeping. You're not, you're living ooh, and neither are any of your clingy, exes. Ooh, that's awesome. All right, I guess that's as good as it gets. I will catch you on the next one later.